Evening all, welcome to my dusty balls. I don't know where that came from. So let's play some Dust. Now, it's an interesting stuff going on in the game. The forums were down for a while. That I don't know why that was. Anyone post in the comments know why that was? I tried to log in a few times and say, "Hey bros, I'm live streaming." Lol. Yeah, me live streaming is like a monkey trying to operate a nuclear power plant, and it's about as effective as well because I don't know what the flip I'm doing. But you crazy people, you seem to do well. A number of you seem to like live streaming for some reason. Post in the comments, tell me why. I don't get it myself, but. We are here to serve you. Not literally. Not going to go and get you a nice slice of quiche. I think if you like live streaming, we'll do some live streaming. We've been sort of, messing about with it. Now, the thing is, it's a tricky thing doing live streaming, particularly of Dust, because I think it's not easy. It's not the easiest thing to try and get your head around and get good games all the time because, there is a lot of stomps out there. And to get that kind of interesting, equal, fun, enjoyable, entertaining game is not the easiest things to do, which is, I think, why I think there's just generally a bit of a challenge. Plus, I do keep an eye on Twitch because, I don't know, Twitch seems to be very popular at the moment, annoyingly. YouTube is good. I know we've spoken about this before, but YouTube is good because you can package content. But Twitch is good because you can just see it live and ask questions and all that, which is obviously very much more enjoyable. It's like live broadcasts of television versus packaged, pre-recorded stuff. Live always feels, a bit more live. Anyway, so there's a lot going on in the game at the moment that I don't quite understand. For example, the forums went down. I don't know why. We got this really kind of scary urgent message that said, please update your PS3 blah blip blop bloop. Otherwise, I don't know, the sun will eclipse and angels of death will ride into your front room and spank your body with their scythes. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we had to do that. Did PSN change something? Is this their kind of attempt to try and stop all the DDoSing? I don't know. I'm curious. I am actually quite curious. I think I caught it on the day. So if you're watching this video now and you haven't updated your PS3, you're gonna have a bad time, as Schley would say. I don't know if that's actually a big deal or not, but you might want to switch it on and just update it. Yes, that's right. I'm forcing you to play this game. Literally, right now, switch on your PS3 and go and update Dust. I don't know why. It just says you have to do it. I don't know. This isn't a scam, by the way. I am not a Nigerian prince trying to get you to send me money so that I can send you then further money back. I'm not. You haven't just won the Irish lottery. You haven't, I promise. Other than that, I don't know. So the forums went down as well, which was a bit spooky. I don't think it went down for everybody, but almost the vast majority of people, which is slightly odd. So I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you what's going on. As we look into our calendar, we see that FanFest is very fast approaching now. There's obviously lots of speculation. Speculation is rife. It looks like it's going to be the Eve Valkyrie thingamajig, E-Fest, and I've got to admit, I'm really not that impressed with Valkyrie. I know I should be, and it upsets me a bit that I'm not. But what I hate, right, and you probably get this as well, is when you go to, or you see rather, stuff from things like E3, or we go to Eurogamer relatively often, whenever it's on in Crystal Palace. No, where is it? It's where the Doctor Who museum was, and I am not afraid to admit that I like Doctor Who. And basically there was, yes, I'm a nerd, yes. There was an interesting few kind of presentations. So when they showed Battlefield, so the last time I went actually was when Battlefield 3 came out. So that was actually a while ago. And what was interesting is they kind of showed you these promo videos of, destructible environments and, cutscenes and, oh my God, a dam just exploded and flooded the map. And then you realise what a load of bilge that is. It's not actually true. It's kind of a lie. And I think you have to be a bit careful of these kind of marketing people, because marketing people generally, they have sold their soul to the devil. They are the most evil, corrupted people in a business, and marketing people should literally just go kill themselves, because they're just like the worst people in a business, because they're kind of like selling the dream. but never selling the reality. And that's kind of what happened with Dust. We had a lot of marketing people selling us this in, you know, integrated universal world where blah 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 orbitals, and it's just like it's just crap. It never happened. But what's interesting is Valkyrie is kind of going down the same route, where they're showing wonderful, exciting footage of dogfighting with an Oculus Rift. Ooh. But that's it. It's kind of like, it's just like a tech demo. There's no game there. It's going to be, and I dread this. I really dread it, and I hope I'm proved wrong, but it's going to be a round-based space combat dogfighting simulator. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? A round-based infantry shooter, perhaps, which will, of course will be linked to EVE, and of course will have lots of impacts to the EVE world, and of course won't suck. I mean, it's just like, oh, come on, we're not stupid. Stop treating us like idiots. So I honestly think Valkyrie is going to be interesting if they can do more with it than they did with Dust, because Dust should have had way more impact on the EVE universe. It's almost as if CCP was scared to allow Dust to impact the EVE universe in anything but the slightest of kind of farty, wispy breezes that ended up being really what actually happened. You know, there should have been the ability for somebody in Dust to jack with somebody in EVE big time. So all of these kind of EVE alliances, I mean, think about it, all of these EVE alliances who rely on dysprosium or whatever the tech moon is nowadays, technetium or God knows what. All of these people that rely on that, why couldn't you just allow the Dust players to go to the moon and fight and hold the POS structure hostage? Then all of a sudden, all of these EVE players are saying, that's not fair, whine. And then the only choice they have to combat this is to come deal with us. That is what I hoped it would be. The ability to actually kind of grab the balls of some of the big alliances and say, hey dudes, we've got your moon, trollolololol, come deal with us. And then they have to literally muster or pay mercenaries to come deal with us. Imagine how cool that would have been. CCP, come on. So these are the things that I truly wonder if they ever thought of doing. If they did, wonderful. But why didn't they? Is it because they're scared of the EVE players? I know that there's this huge kind of desperation never to unsettle the EVE, I guess, status quo. And this is why nothing's happened. Or there's just a massively over-addicted group of people in EVE who pay thousands of pounds every year to this game in some form or another, in game time cards and whatever. There's a huge group of people who literally just sit on vast quantities of this because they're never going to be disrupted, because anybody who even attacks them, they'll just give them a load of money to piss off. And this, when you get to that kind of stagnation, you realise that democracy has failed, and therefore we must usher in a glorious new revolution, which will bring to us a dictatorship of wonder, hatred, evil, and disgust. And that might actually, topple a few regimes and actually make something quite interesting. God almighty, this is getting a bit political, isn't it? I know I don't give a shit about EVE, I really don't. And this is why I really don't give much of a shit about Valkyrie, because I think it's just going to be another completely light fart, breezy, wispy kind of crappy game, which looks good. I'm sure it's very interesting. It has zero scope and scale, and it's about as interesting as, a round of Dust, and it means about as much as well. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, there's just no impact. There's no impact to the EVE universe at all from these ancillary games. And I think that's a shame, because once again, CCP are just kind of saying, yeah, we don't really want to upset our core players who, quite frankly, who will just sit and moan. And yes, we are a company that just develops our game based upon reading forums. For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, seriously, CCP. Stop reading the forums. Stop giving a shit what the vocal minority say, because that's what's cocked this game up completely. Listening to some twat who's unemployed and sits and plays this game 24 hours a day and then moans when you nerf their assault rifle, or you nerf their income stream, or you make it so that maybe their moon won't be as profitable. Seriously, CCP, get the fuck out and listen and do proper development. Seriously. Wow, that got a bit serious, didn't it? I think it's just the frustration of it, because it's like, if you're going to develop a game, have the balls to actually back up your opinions as well. I mean, CCP are just absolutely culpable when it comes to this, that they will just sit and worry that people are screaming and shouting about the tank being dropped down by 3% in its throttle. I don't care. I really don't give a shite. I just want the game to be good, and I want conflict to be there. And, you know, I do subscribe to the kind of... I am a lawful chaos in terms of D&D. I am lawful chaos. Or is it neutral chaos? I don't know. I just love the chaos of it all. And I think games like Snow Globe should be shook up. And Eve at the moment has just settled, and people are leaving. I mean, I don't play Eve now because why would I? There's nothing going on. The same names and the same roaming fleets and the same boring bollocks. It is just boring. Whereas you look at a game like Elite, that's new. It's malleable. It's still being molded into something amazing, and that is what keeps me going back to that game, because there is this huge scope scale. There is this feeling that you are, you know, in theory, completely free to do whatever you wish. No one can deny you access to anywhere in the map, more or less. Okay, there are a few, but, you know, there are pretty much no restrictions on where you can go. You're not going to have to use flipping jump gates. And yes, I can use the Oculus Rift, and I can also trade and make money and have a massive MMO experience across 400 billion stars. Seriously, CCP, you're completely outclassed in Eve, Dust, and Valkyrie already. You should just start a fourth product right now. And maybe, leading on to my final point, maybe it's going to be the Eve TV movie thing that they're talking about. Stefan linked me a wonderful article. I'll try and remember to link it. And it's basically Torfi, what's his name? The guy who kind of owns the IP of CCP, of Dust, of Eve, etc. He's now moved to Hollywood, and he's now starting the Eve TV series. So keep watching, keep your eyes open. This is probably something that's going to be announced at FanFest, but then they already released a press release on it. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because they're trying to make an IP stronger by making a TV show out of it. That's awesome. I think Eve is a great IP. It's wonderful, wonderful backstory. Everything about it's very good. But if they're going to do this, they've got to really, I think, push the products, because what will happen is, yes, they'll show something. And let's imagine there is an Eve TV pilot that comes out, and it's this wonderful story about Dave, the bounty hunter, who has a difficult time dealing with being a single parent child in Hollywood, or rather, you know, planet space Hollywood. And he basically has to go and balance the working conditions of being a lawyer, a cop, and whatever. So it's that kind of, you know, I'm sure it's going to be very American and cheesy in that kind of aspect, but it's going to be an Eve TV show, so I'm all game for that. And then there'll be some form of output from it. Now, if they then channel loads of players from that into Eve, Dust, and Valkyrie, let's just hope the game's up to the kind of critique of maybe what they're about to show, because at the moment, I'd probably say it's not. There we go, on a very high-pitched note. I don't know. I don't mean to be a shit talker, and I generally end up being one, but I just think there's so much more CCP need to do. They really need to tighten up their shit, because at the moment, they look old, they look out of date, and their products are pretty much, I think, outdated, and they're already surpassed technologically. They're certainly past in a kind of graphical and, I guess, a concept way. So the only thing really left for CCP to do now is to start working on something a bit different. But will they? That is the question. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.